felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice. This indictment was voted by a grand jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida, and I invite everyone to read it in full to understand the scope and the gravity of the crimes charged. The men and women of the United States intelligence community and our armed forces dedicate their lives to protecting our nation and its people. Our laws that protect national defense information are critical for the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk. Adherence to the rule of law is a bedrock principle of the Department of Justice, and our nation's commitment to the rule of law sets an example for the world. We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Applying those laws, collecting facts, that's what determines the outcome of an investigation. Nothing more and nothing less. The prosecutors in my office are among the most talented and experienced in the Department of Justice. They have investigated this case hewing to the highest ethical standards, and they will continue to do so as this case proceeds. It's very important for me to note that the defendants in this case must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. To that end, my office will seek a speedy trial in this matter, consistent with the public interest and the rights of the accused. We very much look forward to presenting our case to a jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida. In conclusion, I would like to thank the dedicated public servants of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, with whom my office is conducting this investigation and who work tirelessly every day upholding the rule of law in our country. I'm deeply proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Thank you very much.
Why Florida, sir? Why did you decide to bring the case in Florida? Any folks who are ready to leave or have to escort out?
Hey guys, that's cool that they use live view like us. I'm just on the phone with Jordan fixing his tech issue he's having, so just give us 1 second. Didn't expect that to go so quick. But hope you all are doing well today. Smash the like button and share this stream while we're waiting for Jordan. He's got a couple things to go over. He's going to be going over the indictment itself, some of the photos that were released in it, as well as some stuff with Manchin as well. We got a video from one of his recent speeches and stuff, so stick around. What was that, Jordan? Okay. Jordan's rebooting his computer right now. Sorry about the technical difficulties. So how's everyone doing? Let me pull up the chat here. For those who don't know, I'm Colin. I work behind the scenes here, and I usually am not on screen for this long. I got a Star Wars shirt that you all can see now. But let me know what you guys think, though, in the chat while we're waiting. What you guys think of this indictment? Do you think it's worth the trouble of the indictment? Do you think the indictment's going to lead to anything? And if so, like, it's sort of, I was sort of thinking about this earlier for those of you who might be familiar with comics, the Watchmen of the dilemma of, is it worth going after Trump to with what his base's response might be if you do so, in order to get justice in this one specific instance? As I'm sure someone had mentioned Hillary's emails, so we're very specific about the justice, because I feel like, as many would agree, we should be going after Trump, but also going after Hillary, just to be all as fair and fair. So it's a weird thing of we're having this conversation just because the power dynamics of people in political power, especially specifically, just get extra leeway with these types of things, as we've seen with, I would say, pretty much every president so far. And yes, I do have a vinyl collection. Just move that away. Oh, my Godzilla vinyl is on play right now. Ed Potke, as far as being president, Trump is now done. That is an interesting point. Like, regardless of what happens, this could be a pretty big stickler for presidential aspirations. Does that help DeSantis, or does this empower, if he's still able to become president legally, does this empower people even further? Michael Cooper, this indictment will give you Medicare for all, world peace, and the cure to cancer. Right. Like, there is that side of it, of the amount of resources being put into this. Imagine if we put that amount of effort and resources into anything else. The Justice Department could indict a ham sandwich. Legally, I think you still have to be able to, like, do signatures and stuff. So ham sandwich, maybe if it was a sentient ham sandwich, perhaps.
Okay.
Jordan, are you back? I cannot
think
hear
so.
you.
You can't hear me?
Check your mic settings.
1 2 1 2.
Hillary had obvious intentions of obstructing justice. Yes, if you had
1
actually
2
watched the
1
Senate
2
hearing,
1 2.
where the different people, I forget who had worked with her and worked with those email servers, all pleaded the fifth and never answered a single question, and that was the entire hearing. It was
You're not hearing me?
quite the thing to see. I remember that, and just being
All
like,
right.
"Oh,
The folks hear me,
Okay.
so that's on your end, Colin.
Jordan." So still can't hear you. Is the StreamYard setting correct? Like, select the correct mic.
They hear me, so there's something wrong on your end. All right, let's get the indictment out. Hold on.
Oh no, they hear you. I'm dumb.
Okay. Let me get the indictment out here. It doesn't seem like I missed much in terms of Jack Smith, because he didn't say much. But this indictment is all sorts of corruption and crimes. So I think Donald Trump is going to be not long for this free world, unless a deal is made, which we will get to. I am going to share my screen, and we're going to go through, not the whole document, but a lot of it. Please smash that like button. Share this live stream with more people. Something's wrong with my computer settings, and stuff's not completely working on my end, but hopefully it works on your end. Goddamn Colin for moving again, because I don't have a tech person. So whenever things don't go right, it's a stretch. But this indictment, honestly, unfortunately, in our day and age, everyone is politically tribal. Everybody is kind of on team blue or team red or team purple. We have a lot of people who have blinders on, don't want to believe facts. But if you read this indictment and you look at the evidence, I don't really know many objective people that would say Donald Trump is not guilty 5 times over of serious, serious crimes that for anybody else, he'd be in Sing Sing. He or she would be in Sing Sing a whole long time ago. Donald Trump, from everything we could tell, is guilty of taking classified documents he did not have authorization to take, of moving them over and over and over again throughout Mar-a-Lago, which the indictment shows included them being stored in a ballroom that had that tens of thousands of people had access to through Mar-a-Lago's events, moving them to a ballroom, a bathroom. You just can't make it up. You can't make it up. And Colin, text me if you're able to hear me now.
I can.
So, all right, cool. Let's smash that like button, share this live stream. Sorry for the tech problems. It's just he's guilty of sharing the classified documents with others, which there's 2 instances of that in the indictment. He apparently they moved the boxes of classified documents, some of them from Mar-a-Lago to his Bedminster golf club in New Jersey. I haven't gone through the whole thing, but even just reading the first 10 pages, you're like, holy shit. I think even if the jury in Florida was made up of January 6th insurrectionists, I don't really know how they would justify it legally on a legal basis, not convicting Donald Trump based on the evidence we have. So let's start going through the indictment. I don't really think we need to show you what you just saw what Jack Smith said. It was a whole lot of nothing. The thing that I took away, what the special counsel said, was they want to move to a speedy trial, which is why I think they pushed for this indictment to be out now in June of 2023, so that they could start the process to have a trial. Make no mistake, have a trial long before the primaries are held, or start the trial before the Republican primaries are held, and hopefully have a conclusion before the general election in November. Trump will 100% try to delay, because that's what he has done his entire life in terms of crime, civil suits, or any criminal threat. So let's start reading through this indictment. Let me make it bigger here. All right. I'm going to be surfing around. So, over the course of his presidency, Trump gathered newspapers, press clippings, letters, notes, cards, photographs, official documents, and other materials in cardboard boxes that he kept in the White House. Among the materials Trump stored in his boxes were hundreds of classified documents. The classified documents Trump stored in his boxes, including information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of both the U.S. and foreign countries, U.S. nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. The unauthorized disclosure of these classified documents could put at risk the national security of the United States, foreign relations, the safety of the United States military and human sources, and the continued viability of sensitive intelligence collection methods. So before I even go on, remember, I've been saying this entire time, you know, a lot of people have kind of disbelief that Donald Trump will be held accountable because Donald Trump, they call him Teflon Don, and this is a rich white man. And yes, keep those super chats coming. I will read them at the end. We're live earlier, but this is breaking news, so we wanted to come live earlier than we normally do. I will read the super chats at the end and answer your questions, and maybe we'll take phone calls if we could figure out the tech, because my tech is out of whack on my computer. But I always said, the reason I think he's definitely going to be prosecuted, and the reason I thought it was likely he would be convicted, is because you could commit a lot of crimes, as we've seen with people like Jeffrey Epstein, or people who were never held accountable, which Epstein wasn't either, but the big bankers, the fossil fuel executives, pharmaceutical executives, big tech executives, et cetera, et cetera. But when you get on the bad side of the CIA, which is Capitalism's Invisible Army, is what it stands for. The Defense Department, i.e. the Pentagon, the NSA is included in this indictment. He had classified documents belonging to the CIA, the Pentagon, the NSA. I wrote it down. Hold on. He had 222. CIA, NSA, Pentagon, National Geospatial Agency, National Reconnaissance Office, Department of Energy. He basically had classified documents from a who's who of the U.S. intelligence apparatus. When you get on the bad side of the CIA, the Pentagon, NSA, it usually doesn't work out for you. Democrat, Republican, even if you are corrupt and they happen to like you. Even if you're a warmonger. Go ask JFK how it worked out for him to get on the bad side of the CIA. Julian Assange, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Leonard Peltier. I mean, I could go on and on. So he took a ton of classified documents from pretty much every agency you could think of. Okay. So let's get back to the actual indictment. I keep smashing that like button so we can get this out to more people. On January 20th at noon, Trump ceased to be president. As he departed the White House, Trump caused scores of boxes, many of which contained classified documents, to be transported to the Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, where he maintained his residence. Trump was not authorized to possess or retain those classified documents. I mean, that's at the core of the matter. It obviously never was even credible. It was laughable that Trump said, I was on the toilet and I just waved my wand and declassified them. Not how it works. Once you leave, you no longer have access to the classified documents. You can get a waiver for certain documents, but as this indictment says, Trump never got that waiver. Then they give some information on Mar-a-Lago, which was not an authorized location for the storage, possession, review, display, or discussion of classified documents. But Trump stored boxes containing classified documents in various locations at Mar-a-Lago, including in a ballroom, a bathroom and shower, an office space, his bedroom, and a storage room. Colin, if you have any of the images, if we could show them here. I mean, you got classified documents hanging out. If you could full screen it. That's looks like in the ballroom. Next, or the bed. No, that's the bathroom. It's next to the sink. That looks like possibly a storage room. Keep going. There's the ballroom, which had 150 social events since the time Trump left the White House. Tens of thousands of people were in and out of that ballroom, and they had classified documents at some points just hanging out on the stage, at other points in other areas of that ballroom. Tell you what, it's the arrogance of Donald Trump, not just the corruption, but the arrogance of Donald Trump, not only to take all these documents. And no, I'm sorry if you're a Trump supporter watching, it's not the same thing as Biden or Pence or Hillary's emails, which I'm on record that Hillary Clinton should have been indicted, but it's not even on the same universe, what we're about to go through here. So he didn't just have documents hanging in a well-locked storage room. He had them in the bathroom, in the ballroom, in his office. The storage room will later tell you there was an entry access to the hallway next to the storage room from the pool. So people hanging out at the pool could end up in the store next to the storage room that we, through reports, was not well locked. I mean, this is beyond. I don't even think you could write a comedy or a comedic movie like this. On 2 occasions in 2001, Trump showed classified documents to others as follows. And this was reported on yesterday, but now we have the full details. In July 2021, a Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey. We'll get to images of how these documents ended up in New Jersey. During an audio recorded meeting with a writer, a publisher, and 2 members of his staff, none of whom possessed a security clearance, Trump showed and described a, quote, plan of attack that Trump said was prepared for him by the Department of Defense and a senior military official. Trump told the individuals that the plan was, quote, highly confidential and secret. Trump also said, as president, I could have declassified it, and now I can't, but this is still a secret. So, I mean, right there, the whole Harry Potter waved my Harry Potter wand and declassified everything defense goes out the window. He is right there in July of 2021 stating these are declassified. These are classified. I could have declassified them when I was president, which I'm not even sure is true because there is a process that has to go through, but I didn't. And now they're classified and I can't show you. But he was holding the documents, and there's audio of him discussing these documents with, I guess, people writing a book about Mark Meadows' time in the White House, or a memoir about Mark Meadows. Chris says you could argue whether he would have access and ownership of the documents, but I think the obstruction of justice charge is going to sink him. Usually agree with you, but you can't really argue if he should have had access or ownership of the documents. I mean, it's just very black and white. Once these are property of the U.S. government, not a former president. So once you leave, if you sign a waiver, you are able as an ex-president to request certain classified documents. But regardless, most classified documents have to be viewed in a secure area. So they can't just be hanging around in your bathroom or mailed or couriered to Mar-a-Lago, even if he got a waiver. So I don't really think it is arguable that he should have had access to this. And him having the documents is part of the crime, willful retention of defense information. But there's more serious crimes we're going to find out about. Let me read this one too. Jinx 44, $20. As someone who held a clearance, this makes no sense. He was the president. He is the final decision on what is classified and declassified as he desires. I think non-clearance holders don't understand how this works. Yes, when he is president, at the time he is president, he has final decision as what is classified and what can be declassified. But right here, in Trump's own words, that does not constitute when you are no longer president. He says right here, he's showed and described a plan of attack that Trump said was prepared for him by the Department of Defense, plan of attack against Iran, by the way. Trump told the individuals that the plan was highly confidential and secret. He also said, as president, I could have declassified it, and now I can't, but this is still a secret. So thanks for the super chat, but you're wrong. He cannot declassify. First off, he does not have ownership of the documents in the first place. It was illegal for him to take them from the White House in the first place. Even though he committed crimes in that retrospect, the government, who I am not commonly defending, the government tried in a non-criminal, non-threatening way to get these documents back for him for over a year before they even issued a subpoena. So he got more time than any other individual on planet Earth would get to return documents that he did not have access to. He, as we're going to learn, stalled. As we're going to learn, he stalled, stonewalled, and told his lawyers to lie to the FBI saying we have returned everything. And at one point said, tell them we don't have any of these documents. All right. In another time where he showed classified documents in August or September 2021 at the Bedminster Club, Trump showed a representative of his political action committee who did not possess a security clearance a classified map related to a military operation and told the representative that he should not be showing it to the representative and that the representative should not get too close. So obviously in this case, it's not clear if they have audio of this, but clearly they either have the person who he said it to or other witnesses that spoke to the investigation about this encounter. So he's saying he should not be showing it to representatives and that the representatives should not get too close. Now, technically, as far as I could tell, the only plausible defense that they have, and I'm not being dramatic, is some form of mental illness or insanity, because he clearly believes that these are his documents that belong to him. Even though, as I've already stated, classified documents, you could only declassify the documents at the time you are president. They don't continue on as your documents, your personal documents, when you are no longer president. So he is stating in one exchange, I could have declassified them when I'm president, which, by the way, it does have to go through a process. You cannot just snap your finger as president and declassify something. It has to go through a process. But he's saying, I can't anymore. And in this instance, he's saying, I should not be showing this to you, meaning these are classified. And I don't know what a classified map related to a military operation. I don't know if it's been reported yet. What military operation this was remains to be seen. Whether they, through this case and trial, will reveal all the information, because they'll cite, the bullshit they always cite, which is, sources and methods. But they're going to have to reveal some of the classified information if they want a conviction. So this says that they opened the criminal investigation into Trump in March of 2022. So this has obviously been going on for well over a year. A grand jury started the next month in April. They also have evidence that Trump endeavored to obstruct the FBI and grand jury investigations and conceal his continued retention of classified documents by, among other things, suggesting that his lawyer falsely represented to the FBI and the grand jury that Trump did not have documents called for by the grand jury subpoena. So clearly his lawyers talked. Because, how are they going to know unless the lawyer squealed? Which I don't blame the lawyers for squealing, because if I'm his lawyer, I ain't going down for Donald Trump. Not happening. So told them to lie to the FBI, to the Department of Justice of the FBI, directing defendant Walt Nauta, who is also charged in this indictment, to move boxes of documents to conceal them from Trump's attorneys, the FBI, and the grand jury, suggesting that his attorney hide or destroy documents called for by the grand jury subpoena. Again, lawyers talked. Providing to the FBI and grand jury just some of the documents called for by the grand jury subpoena, while claiming that he was cooperating fully. That's likely in reference to the certification that was provided in June of 2022, that after they handed over 38 classified documents, one of Trump's lawyers certified in writing that we did a thorough search, and this is all of them. Obviously, that's not true. And obviously, Trump was directing them, causing a certification to be submitted to the FBI and grand jury, falsely representing that all documents called for were returned. That's what I just said. As a result of Trump's retention of classified documents after his presidency and refusal to return them, hundreds of classified documents were not recovered by the U.S. until 2022. On January 17th, nearly 1 year after Trump left office and 4 months of demands by the National Archives, Trump returned 15 boxes, which contained 197 documents with classified markings. On June 3rd, in response to a grand jury subpoena demanding the production of all documents with classified markings, Trump's attorneys provided 38 more documents. On August 8th, pursuant to a court-authorized search warrant, the FBI recovered from Trump's office and storage room 102 more classified documents. Clearly, between June and August, somebody or more than one person tipped off the DOJ and FBI that was not all of the documents, that there were still documents there. They mentioned something about Walt Nauta, the co-conspirator, a little info on Mar-a-Lago. Then they get into the types of classified information, which was everything under the sun, the highest level secrets of the U.S. government he had. Then they get into that he had classified documents from the CIA, the Department of Defense, the NSA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, the Department of Energy, Department of State and Bureau of Intelligence and Research. Then they get into just I thought this was pretty smart of them. All of Trump's public statements in the past on basically, attacking Hillary Clinton over the private server and emailing classified documents, and that when he became president, he was going to tighten up classified information so that it cannot be illegally shared again, which is kind of ironic and comical considering what we're finding out he did. Colin, let's play that clip from the campaign trail, I believe it was, of Trump talking about Hillary Clinton, I believe it was, and what he would do once he becomes president.
This was not just extreme carelessness with classified material, which is still totally disqualifying. This is calculated, deliberate, premeditated misconduct, followed by a cover-up that included false statements and lies to Congress, the media, and the American people.
Well, I gotta love it. And by the way, I think Hillary Clinton should have been indicted, but please, all these phony fucking right-wingers and Republicans who cared about the sanctity of classified information and private servers and data. It's Trump. Oh, well, it's a conspiracy. It's a witch hunt. It's a hoax. If Obama did a fraction of what Trump did in this indictment, and I believe they have evidence for all of this, they would be calling to send him to Guantanamo and hang him. Okay? So if you are a conservative watching this, even if you are a MAGA maniac, okay, at some point you got to call a spade a spade. And the real question is, and I don't know if it gets to this in the indictment, and I don't know the answer. I have some suspicions, and maybe you do too. And I think at some point we will take calls. So get that ready if you can, Colin. Why? Why did he take all these documents? Why did he want nuclear programs? Why did he want papers on attack plans against Iran? Why did he want documents about about spies? The only thing I could think of to use them in some type of extortion, if he ever had criminal liability in another area, to tell the government, well, it would be a shame if these documents got in the wrong hands. Sell them to foreign governments. I mean, I was never into the Russiagate stuff. I always said it was bullshit. I always said there was no proof that Trump's campaign coordinated with the Russian government. They weren't organized enough. Most of them were a bunch of idiots. But I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump to try and sell U.S. secrets, classified information to Saudi Arabia, Russia, United Arab Emirates. If if the government or other politicians had things on Trump that they were going to release, I mean, this is the ultimate Trump card, so to speak. Yeah, people say Trump loves his mementos. He had boxes of his magazine covers and his New York Post covers and his Rolling Stone covers and whatever. But the only reason that you would want all of this stuff, we're talking nuclear programs, defense documents, is to use them to your benefit. That's it. It's beyond the pale of crimes. And people say, oh, well, it's in Florida, so it's, good terrain for Trump. Obviously, Florida has shifted and become a lot more right wing. I don't even think it being in Florida. I mean, you would literally need a jury of January 6th coups or insurrectionists or the cast of Duck Dynasty on the jury, or I don't know, for one person to look past all of this evidence, because they clearly have witnesses. They have photos, which we've already showed you. They have audio. I mean, there's so many smoking guns that now it's pretty clear why a judge authorized to take and approved a search warrant to take the unprecedented step to raid a former president's home. And I'll tell you, some of these Republican candidates that came out yesterday sucking Donald Trump's dick, excuse my French, saying this is all a witch hunt and the weaponization of the Department of Justice and blah, 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 blah. If they manage to win the nomination, because I think Trump is going to ultimately drop out and make a deal, and I'll get to that later, this ain't going to help them win in the general election, basically defending Trump. Because independent voters, I don't think, even though the Democrats are horrible and corrupt, I don't really think independent voters are going to ignore Republican candidates or Ron DeSantis or somebody in a general election if he's the nominee defending Donald Trump for, I mean, this is the T word. This is treasonous. I don't think so. And there's a lot of, leftists who will minimize this and will minimize, just like they minimized January 6th. They'll say, oh, it's a thing over boxes, like Obama's committed war crimes, Bush has committed war crimes. Who cares about this? Well, I'm here to remove the whataboutism from the situation, because the fact that pretty much all our presidents have been wildly corrupt, pretty much you could find anything, everything and anything. You could find something that should have been charged against most presidents, whether it's war crimes, corruption, being legally bribed, selling out favors in exchange for donors, cash. That's not what this is about. We can't reinvent history and charge them or put them behind bars, although I wish we can, particularly in Bush's case. So the fact that we have a corrupt system and other presidents should have been indicted or other politicians should have been charged and thrown in prison does not make this okay, or say, well, we should ignore this one because it hasn't been consistent across the board. And I, for one, am happy if any of them are held accountable. And no, I do not think it is accurate or even logical to say, oh, they're only doing this to stop him from running or stop him from getting in the White House. Remember, this investigation started in March of 2022. The grand jury started in April of 2022. He didn't announce that he was running again until November of 2022. So this investigation started well before he even announced he was running again. And by the way, he had over a year to return the documents before an investigation started. So objectively, there is no evidence that this is politically motivated whatsoever. And of all the crimes Donald Trump committed, this one makes the least amount of sense because he didn't have to commit it. There's no reason other than nefarious that he kept on to all these documents. And please smash that like button. We got almost 200 people watching. Everybody smash the like button so we can get this out to more people. Let's keep going through the indictment because we haven't really even gotten to the worst of the worst yet. In January 2021, as he was preparing to leave the White House, Trump and his White House staff, including Nauta, packed items, including some of Trump's boxes. Trump was personally involved in this process. That's key because remember, a lot of this defense was, well, blame the National Archives staff who helped us box these stuff up. I don't know what they put in the boxes. Well, clearly there's witnesses that say Trump was personally involved in the process of what they were putting in the boxes. From January through March 15th, 2021, some of Trump's boxes were stored in the Mar-a-Lago Club's white and gold ballroom. You can't make this up. In which events and gatherings took place. Trump's boxes were for a time stacked on the ballroom stage, as depicted in the photograph below, redacted to obscure an individual's identity. So, this is not an espionage thriller. What I'm telling you is not, Cheryl, allegedly. I mean, they have photos, Cheryl. Colin, if you want to show the photos, this is not an allegation. I mean, photo evidence exists of the boxes right there on the Mar-a-Lago ballroom stage. That, I believe, is a storage room. Other pictures of boxes in a bathroom. There's the sink. There's a shower. So yeah, no, these are not allegations. They got photos. They got audio. And there's other video. So, and by the way, obviously a ballroom is not secure, and they had events with tens of thousands of people going in and out of this ballroom. But even putting aside the events, they have just day to day people are roaming around Mar-a-Lago. There's access to the ballroom. There's boxes there. Clearly, there's the possibility of people poking around boxes. And from what the indictment says, the Secret Service was not aware that they were never told that there were boxes of classified information in Mar-a-Lago. In March 2021, Nauta and others moved some of Trump boxes from the ballroom to the business center. So this is one of the first instances that the boxes were moved. They were moved several times. On April 5th, 2021, an employee under Trump texted another one to ask whether Trump's boxes could be moved out of the business center to make room for staff to use it as an office. Another employee replied, "Whoa, okay, so POTUS specifically asked Walt for those boxes to be in the business center because they are his papers." Later that day, Trump employee 1 and Trump employee 2 exchanged the following texts. Trump employee 2, "We could definitely make it work if we move his papers into the lake room." Employee 1, "There's still a little room in the shower where his other stuff is. Is it only his papers he cares about? There's some other stuff in there that are not his papers. Could that go to storage, or does he want everything in there on property?" Yes, anything that's not the beautiful mine paper boxes can definitely go to storage. Want to take a look at the space and start moving tomorrow a.m. After the text exchange between both employees in April 2021, some of Trump's boxes were moved from business center to a bathroom and shower in the Mar-a-Lago's lake room, as depicted in the photograph below. So these are obviously like drawn up photos. Colin, come on for a second. Can you imagine if, trying to think, let's think Nancy Pelosi, okay? If Nancy Pelosi home, if they found a classified document in the bathroom next to the shower with a carton of her gourmet ice cream open next to a classified document, let's just say about, I don't know, U.S. operations with Yemen or Iran attack plans, or name it. If classified documents were found in a bathroom in Nancy Pelosi's home, and I am not a fan of Nancy Pelosi, so let's put that out there. What do you think the response on Fox News would be?
It would probably be meltdown mode. It would be like, I remember Benghazi. I assume it'd be similar to that, except more aggressive. And yeah, I wouldn't blame him.
Life in prison.
Oh yeah. Well, they'd say it's treason, and back in the old days we would have hung you. So life in prison is a mercy. It would be the reasoning, I would assume.
So the point I'm trying to make, because nothing anymore isn't partisan. You're either on team red or team blue. Everybody's got different standards for different politicians. Everyone seems to be a hypocrite and have double standards. But the bottom line is, I don't really give a shit if he's a Republican, a Democrat, a third party, a corporate CEO, the mailman. And frankly, I think that our classification programs and our classifications is wildly, wildly corrupt. I think probably 75 to 80% of the documents and programs classified in the United States should not be classified. All of the JFK files should have been released 50 years ago. So this is not to say, oh, he committed crimes and, you know, we must protect the documents, the sacred documents of our upstanding government. and all are upstanding government officials that are so filled with integrity. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's very likely some of the classified documents he had shouldn't have been classified. It's very likely that a lot of the documents that are currently classified should not be classified. But that's a different discussion. The bottom line is Trump, because he's been a criminal for 50 years, going back to when his father and him were discriminating against black tenants in apartments in Queens, he doesn't think the law applies to him. And the law has not applied to him for 40 years. He got out of crimes in New York. He was in bed financially and in business with the mafia, with Russians, with Russian oligarchs. He's been in bed with Saudi Arabia. There's been reporting and evidence of money laundering, and he's always gotten away with it. So why wouldn't he think it's my papers and law schmaw? What's illegal for you? Whatever. In May 2021, Trump directed that a storage room on the ground floor of the Mar-a-Lago be cleaned out so that it could be used to store his boxes. The hallway leading to the storage room could be reached from multiple outside entrances, including one accessible from the Mar-a-Lago Club pool patio through a doorway that was often kept open. The storage room was near the liquor supply closet, the linen room, lock shops, and various other rooms. Can you just imagine, like, people like, tourists or vacationers or foreign dignitaries are chilling by the pool. They walk up the patio, they open the door, they're in the hallway. Oh, there's the liquor closet. Oh, there's the storage room. Let me get some liquor, or let me go poke around here. I mean, it's just so asinine. You could not write, like, I don't even think Veep, which was one of the best shows ever. Julia Louis-Dreyfus was the vice president. It was just a satirical thumbing in the face of how corrupt Washington is. I don't even think Veep could write up a script this insane and corrupt and laughable. I really don't think. And their whole thing was just, Veep's whole plots were always well over the top. I don't even think House of Cards back in the day could have written this up. You got classified documents, defense programs, nuclear programs, identity of spies. They're in the ballroom. They're in the bathroom. They're in the storage room that's right next to the pool. It's unbelievable. And to be honest, the Republican Party has been lost for a long time. So I'm not expecting much. But literally, how do you go on TV and defend it now? How? Like, but Hillary? But Biden? But Hunter? And isn't the Republican Party like the party of national defense? It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. Not going to read the whole indictment, but a little bit more. Then it goes through that. Then the boxes in June of 2021 were moved from the lake room to the storage room. After the move, there were more than 80 boxes in the storage room, as depicted in the photographs below. That's the storage room. Once the DOJ and FBI came down in June of 2022, they had said that storage room is not properly locked. Trump's lawyer would not let the Department of Justice official in June of 2022 go through the boxes. He showed them the storage room, but said you cannot go through the boxes. December 2021, NAUDA found several of Trump's boxes fallen and their contents spilled onto the floor of the storage room, including documents marked secret to USA, which denoted that the information in the document was releasable only to Five Eyes intelligence alliance consisting of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the US. NAUDA texted an employee, "I opened the door and found this." He also attached 2 photographs he took of the spill. In May of 2021, Trump caused some of his boxes to be brought to his summer residence at the Bedminster Club. Like the Mar-a-Lago Club after Trump's presidency, the Bedminster Club was not an authorized location for the storage, possession, review, display, or discussion of classified documents. Colin, that's the tweet that I put on there that shows Trump getting on the plane and his aides carrying heavy boxes. If you could show that. I mean, this was rumored. That's one aide carrying boxes, another. So this is in May of 2021. It was rumored that, like, because this video has been out there for a while, it was rumored that they were moving classified documents from Mar-a-Lago to Bedminster, but now we know. Now, why was Trump moving boxes from Mar-a-Lago to Bedminster? Because he spends a lot of his summer at Bedminster. Did he want the documents there for toilet reading over the summer in New Jersey? Or did he know that maybe different people would be coming to Bedminster versus Mar-a-Lago, and he wanted the documents on hand to discuss or show? But needless to say, he has classified documents illegally that he has no right to have in multiple locations around the United States. On July 21st, 2021, when he was no longer president, Trump gave an interview in his office at the Bedminster Club to a writer and a publisher in connection with a forthcoming book about Mark Meadows. Two members of Trump's staff also attended the interview, which was recorded with Trump's knowledge and consent. Before the interview, the media had published reports that at the end of Trump's term as president, a senior military official, this was General Milley, purportedly feared that Trump might order an attack on Iran. They just called it Country A, and that the senior military official advised Trump against doing so. Upon greeting the writer, publisher, and his two staff members, Trump stated, "Look what I found. This was Mark Milley's plan of attack, General Milley's plan of attack. Read it and just show it's interesting." Later in the interview, Trump engaged in the following exchange. "Well, Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look, this was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him." The writer says, "Wow. Trump, we looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. Pages, long look." Staffer, Trump, wait a minute. Let's see here. Staffer laughs. "Yeah." Trump, "I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know?" The staffer says, "Except it's like highly confidential." Oh, the fucking idiocy of this. Staffer, "Yeah," laughing. Trump, "Secret. This is secret information. Look at this. You attack and, by the way, isn't that incredible?" His staffer, "Yeah. I was just thinking because we were talking about it. And, he said, quote, he wanted to attack Iran. And what?" Staffer, "You did." Trump, "This was done by the military and given to me. I think we could probably write." Staffer, "I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to." Trump, "Declassify it." Staffer, "Figure out yeah." Trump, "See, as president, I could have declassified it." Staffer, "Yeah," laughing. Trump, "Now I can't, but this is still a secret." Staffer, "Yeah," laughing. "Now we have a problem." Trump, "Isn't that interesting?" At the time of this exchange, the writer, the publisher, and Trump's two staff members did not have security clearances or any need to know any classified information about a plan of attack on Iran. In August of September 2021, when he was no longer president, Trump met in his office at the Bedminster Club in Jersey with a representative of a political PAC. During the meeting, Trump commented that an ongoing military operation in Country B was not going well. Trump showed the PAC representative a classified map of Country B and told the PAC representative that he should not be showing the map to the PAC representative and to not get too close. The PAC representative did not have a security clearance or any need to know classified information about the military operation. I mean, Colin, I know you're probably somebody that watched a lot of South Park. I watched a little bit of South Park, but this, to me, this is like an exchange that could happen in South Park or like some political cartoon or some show that stoners watch where like, isn't that amazing, bro? Like,
It's
nervous laughter by, Kenny or somebody in South Park. And it's just like, this guy bragging to try and like, say, oh, my dick's bigger. It's just so comical. And it's truly hard to believe. And it all shows the deep, deep arrogance, insecurity, and just belligerence of this idiot.
Well, and it's funny too that you mentioned South Park, because South Park in the recent episodes created a Trump character out of one of the teachers, and the storylines they did for that character, even some of those storylines weren't as exaggerated enough, with the exception of a couple that people can probably think of, but as exaggerated enough as some of the stuff that's happening, of like how stupid they depicted Mr. Garrison as the Trump figure and stuff. I don't think they would have written him as just doing some of this classified doc stuff, because they would have been like, well, we don't want to make him too stupid. We want to still make him a functional character.
Well, it's also like he knows he's being recorded, right? He's meeting with an author for a book who's writing a memoir or something like that on Mark Meadows. So like, you truly have to be a delusional person, because you're not allowed to show this stuff. You're being recorded. You truly just have to believe that you could do whatever you want. Nothing sticks to you. The law does not apply to do that. To just openly be holding a document. Apparently the audio, which we'll probably hear in the criminal trial, hears him kind of crinkling up the paper. I mean, you must be an idiot. You must also be an idiot because he said this is off the record, by the way. Apparently he doesn't know that how it works with journalists and authors. You could say it's off the record, but they have to then agree. So you just saying it's off the record doesn't make it off the record. The person you're speaking with, most often a journalist, has to agree to those terms. So all around, it's just South Park, Dumb and Dumber, Beavis and Butthead, Ren and Stimpy, name your show. It's just, it's hard to fathom. And again, I'm sorry to MAGA and Trump fanatics, but this isn't even on the same level. Biden, when they knew he had classified documents, he opened up his house to the DOJ and FBI. Same thing with Pence. Now, you could argue they should be held liable or have some penalty for having classified documents in their from their time as vice president that they shouldn't have, but there wasn't this long, drawn-out process of stonewalling the National Archives, of telling your lawyers to lie to the DOJ and FBI that we don't have the documents, of returning sub-documents but keeping others, of putting the documents in your ballroom or your bathroom or next to the pool. I mean, it's just, I know it's hard, but you gotta take off your partisan, team jersey and just facts are facts here. All right. Hold on. Let's keep going. On January 13th, Nauta texted Trump employee 2 about Trump's tracking of boxes, stating he's tracking the boxes. More to follow today on whether he wants to go through more today or tomorrow. So clearly, Trump had knowledge about the whereabouts of the boxes, where they were being moved to. It seems like they were moved over and over and over again, from storage rooms to bathrooms to ballrooms to the lake room to the pine room. January 17th, 2022, Trump employee 2 and Nauta gathered 15 boxes from Trump's residence, loaded the boxes in Nauta's car, and then took them to a commercial truck for delivery to the National Archives. When interviewed by the FBI in May 2022 regarding the location and movement of boxes before the production to the National Archives, Nauta made false and misleading statements as set forth in count 38 of this indictment, including falsely stating he was not aware of Trump's boxes being brought to Trump's residence for his review before Trump provided 15 boxes to the National Archives, falsely stating he did not know how the boxes that he and Trump employee 2 brought from Trump's residence to the commercial truck for delivery to NARA had gotten to the residence. You got to wonder why was this guy Nauta willing to throw his life down the drain for Donald Trump? That I do not know. February 2022, National Archives referred the classified documents to the Department of Justice. March 30th, the FBI opened a criminal investigation. April 2022, the federal grand jury starts. Then it gets to Trump's concealment of the boxes. On May 11th, 2022, the grand jury issued a subpoena to Donald Trump requiring the production of all documents with classification markings in the possession, custody, or control of Trump. 2 attorneys representing Trump informed Trump of the May 11th subpoena, and he authorized Trump Attorney 1 to accept service. On May 22nd, Nauta entered the storage room and left approximately 34 minutes later carrying one of Trump's boxes. On May 23rd, Trump met with Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 at the Mar-a-Lago Club to discuss the response to the May 11th subpoena. Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 told Trump that they needed to search for documents that would be responsive to the subpoena and provide a certification that they had been in compliance with the subpoena. Trump, in sum and substance, so again, this is clearly the lawyers telling the special counsel and testifying to the DOJ that Trump made the following statements. I don't want anybody looking. I don't want anybody looking through my boxes. I really don't. I don't want you looking through my boxes. Well, what happens if we just don't respond at all or don't play ball with them? Trump asked. Wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here? Well, look, isn't it better if there are just no documents? While meeting with Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 on May 23rd, Trump, in sum and substance, told the following story as memorialized by Trump Attorney 1. So right there, they're stating that one of Trump's attorneys told them this. Attorney, he was great. He did a great job. You know what? He said that it was him, that he was the one who deleted all of her emails, the 30,000 emails, because they basically dealt with her scheduling and her going to the gym and her having beauty appointments. And he was great. And so she didn't get in any trouble because he said that he was the one who deleted them. So he's referring to how great Hillary Clinton's attorney was, who I guess took the fall for Hillary Clinton, which I'm not even sure that's accurate. On May 23rd, 2022, Trump also confirmed his understanding with one of his attorneys that Trump Attorney 1 would return to Mar-a-Lago Club on June 2nd to search for any documents with classification markings to produce in response to the subpoena. Trump Attorney 1 made it clear to Trump that Trump Attorney 1 would conduct the search for documents by looking through Trump's boxes that had been transported from the White House and remained in storage at Mar-a-Lago. Trump indicated that he wanted to be at the Mar-a-Lago Club when his attorney returned to review the boxes on June 2nd, and that Trump would change his summer travel plans to do so. Trump told Attorney 2 that Trump Attorney 2 did not need to be present for the review of boxes. After meeting with both attorneys on May 23rd, Trump delayed his departure from the Mar-a-Lago Club to Bedminster Club for the summer so that he would be present at the Mar-a-Lago Club on June 2nd when the attorney was returning to review the boxes. Between Trump's May 23rd, 2022 meeting with his 2 attorneys to discuss the May 11th subpoena and June 2nd, when the Trump attorney returned to review the boxes in the storage room, Nauta removed, at Trump's direction, a total of approximately 64 boxes from the storage room and brought them to Trump's residence as set forth below. On May 24th, between 5:30 and 5:38, Nauta removed 3 boxes from the storage room. May 30th, 2022, Nauta Trump and Nauta spoke by phone for approximately 30 seconds. Between 10:02 and 11:51 a.m., Nauta removed a total of approximately 50 boxes from the storage room. So, I mean, this is literally Trump hiding classified documents from his lawyer that's coming in a few weeks to check for classified documents so that he can comply with a criminal subpoena. And Trump is using this Nauta schmuck to basically remove stuff from the storage room, put him in the residence, so that when the lawyer comes back, he'll look through the storage room and think, I got everything. So Trump is illegally defying a criminal subpoena. I mean, that's what's going on. It's not very complicated. On May 30th, 2022, a Trump family member texted Nauta, "Good afternoon, Walt. Happy Memorial Day. I saw you put boxes to POTUS room. Just FYI, and I will tell him as well. Not sure how many he wants to take on Friday on the plane. We will not have room for them. Plane will be full with luggage. Thank you." Nauta replied, "Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think he wanted to pick from them. I don't imagine him wanting to take the boxes. He told me to put them in the room and that he was going to talk to you about them." So I don't know. Could be Ivanka, could be Melania. Who knows if they knew that these were classified documents? You would hope they're not stupid enough to go along with that, but this is the Trump family. This is the Trump family. Let's keep going. False certification to the FBI and the grand jury. On the afternoon of June 2nd, 2022, as Trump had been informed, Trump attorney 1 arrived at Mar-a-Lago to review Trump's boxes to look for documents with classification markings in response to the subpoena. Trump met with the attorney. Before the attorney conducted the review, Nauta escorted Trump's attorney to the storage room for about 2.5 hours. Trump's attorney reviewed the contents of Trump's boxes in storage. Trump attorney located 38 documents with classification markings inside the boxes, which Trump's attorney removed and placed in a red-weld folder. Trump attorney contacted Nauta and asked him to bring clear duct tape to the storage room, which Nauta did. Trump's attorney used the duct tape to seal the red-weld folder with the documents with classification markings. After Trump's attorney finished sealing the folder containing the documents he had found inside Trump's boxes, Nauta took Trump's attorney to a dining room in the Mar-a-Lago club to meet with Trump. After Trump's attorney confirmed that he was finished with his search, Trump asked, "Did you find anything? Is it bad? Good?" Trump and Trump's attorney then discussed what to do with the folder containing documents with classification markings and whether Trump attorney 1 should bring them to his hotel and put them in a safe there. During that conversation, Trump made a plucking motion as memorialized by Trump attorney 1. He made a funny motion as though, well, okay, why don't you take them with you to your hotel room? And if there's anything really bad in there, like, pluck it out. And that was the motion that he made. He didn't say that. God. That evening, the Trump's attorney contacted the Department of Justice and requested that an FBI agent meet him at the Mar-a-Lago club the next day so that he could turn over the documents responsive to the subpoena. Also that evening, Trump's attorney contacted another Trump attorney and asked her if she would come to the Mar-a-Lago club the next morning to act as a custodian of records and sign a certification regarding the search for documents with classification markings. Very smart that he asked somebody else to sign their name to certify that this was all the documents, because he probably had reason not to believe Trump that this was all the documents. All right, I'm going to skip around. This is showing how many documents they found and where. They found documents in Trump's office, 27 documents. Top secret, 6 documents in his office. Secret, 18 documents. Confidential, 3. Storage room, they had 75 documents. Top secret, 11. Secret, 36. Confidential, 28. And then it gets into the willful retention of national defense information. That that Trump willfully retained the documents and failed to deliver them to the officer and employee of the U.S. entitled to receive them. Trump, without authorization, retained at the Mar-a-Lago club documents related to national defense, including the following. Document dated May 3rd, 2018, concerning White House intelligence briefing related to various foreign countries. Document from May 2018 concerning White House intelligence briefing. So they're not going into detail what all the documents are. I don't know how that's going to hold up in the trial, but this is a long list of the documents. Then they get into the obstruction of justice from on or about May 11th, 2022 through in or around August 2022 in Palm Beach. The defendants did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with each other and with others known and unknown to the grand jury to engage in misleading conduct towards another person and corruptly persuade another person to withhold a record, document, and other objects from an official proceeding in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1512, and to corruptly conceal a record, document, and other objects from an official proceeding. The purpose of the conspiracy was for Trump to keep classified documents he had taken with him from the White House and to hide and conceal them from a federal grand jury. The manner and means by which the defendants sought to accomplish the objects and purpose of the conspiracy included, among other things, suggesting that Trump Attorney 1 falsely represented the FBI and grand jury that Trump did not have documents called for by the May 11th subpoena, moving boxes of documents to conceal them from Trump Attorney 1, the FBI, and the grand jury. By the way, my strong guess is Trump Attorney 1 is Evan Corcoran, who is compelled to testify, and his attorney-client privilege was overruled. Normally, with an attorney wouldn't have to testify because you have attorney-client privilege, which is confidential, but there's the crime-fraud exemption, which if the attorney was asked to help the defendant carry out a crime, the attorney-client privilege is waived, basically, and you have to testify. And the attorney was asked to help Trump carry out a crime if Trump was asking the attorney to lie to the DOJ and FBI. Trump suggesting that Trump's attorney hide or destroy documents called for by the May 11th subpoena. Jesus Christ. Providing to the FBI and grand jury just some of the documents called for by the May 11th subpoena, while Trump claimed he was cooperating fully, causing a false certification to be submitted to the FBI and grand jury, representing that all documents with classification markings had been produced, when in fact they had not. And again, I mean, the only legitimate reason one could really think Trump wanted to keep these documents or withheld certain documents was, hold on, or withheld certain documents was Trump wanted to keep certain documents to use for some ways that he shouldn't have been using them. That's the only thing I could really think of. As my computer freezes again, hold on 1 second. There we go. All right. Let me read some comments before I get back to the indictment. So this reads like an alleged Ponzi scheme over documents. Was he going to sell them or what? That's the question, because clearly Trump picked through, agreed to give back most of the documents, I guess, but wanted to keep certain ones. Why did he want to keep certain ones? For toilet reading or to sell them to foreign governments? Maybe Kim Jong-un will allow him to emigrate to the North Korea? Wouldn't that be something? Do you think he keeps the love letters from Kim in North Korea? I'm thinking he's still hanging on to those. He's the world's biggest pro bono case. Good luck to whatever lawyers, unlucky sons of guns, sign on to defend this man. And by the way, this morning, I believe 2 of his lawyers resigned, and Trump lied about it and said he was changing up he was changing up on his own, the criminal team. All right. Let's get to this part. Corruptly concealing a document. Trump and Walt Nauta did corruptly conceal a record, document, and other object and attempted to do so with the intent to impair the object's integrity and availability for use in the official proceeding. Trump and Nauta hid and concealed boxes that contained documents with classification markings from Trump's attorneys and Trump's attorney one, so that Trump attorney one could not find the documents. So that's clearly, it's got to be Evan Corcoran, who, like we said, testified. So here we have count 36, scheme to conceal. The general allegations of this indictment are realleged and fully incorporated hereby reference Trump and Walt Nauta in a matter within the jurisdiction of the judicial branch and executive branch of the U.S. did knowingly and willfully falsify, conceal, and cover up by any trick, scheme, and device a material fact, that is, during a federal grand jury investigation at a federal criminal investigation being conducted by the FBI, Trump and Nauta hid and concealed from the grand jury and the FBI Trump's continued possession of documents with classification markings, all in violation of Title 18, false statements and representations. Trump did knowingly and willfully make and cause to be made a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement and representation. That is, during a federal grand jury investigation and federal criminal investigation being conducted by the FBI, Trump caused the following false statements and representations to be made to the grand jury. Quote, a diligent search was conducted of the boxes that were moved from the White House to Florida. This search was conducted after receipt of the subpoena in order to locate any and all documents. Any and all responsive documents accompany this certification. The statements and representations set forth above were false, as Trump knew, because Trump had directed that boxes be removed from the storage room before Trump's attorney conducted the June 2022 search for documents with classification markings, so that Trump's attorney's search would not and did not include all of Trump's boxes. So the real question is, who ratted Trump out after that June 2022 meeting? Who, after Trump's lawyers certified in writing that we've responded to your subpoena, we've returned all the documents, who tipped off the DOJ that they didn't? Somebody did. And wouldn't it be spicy if it was one of his family members? Whew. And now count 38, false statements and representations. On May 26, 2022, Nauta participated in a voluntary interview with the FBI. During the interview, the FBI explained to Nauta that the FBI was investigating how classified documents had been kept at Mar-a-Lago, and the FBI asked Nauta questions about the location and movement of Trump's boxes before Trump provided 15 boxes to Nauta on January 17th. Nauta was represented by counsel, and the FBI advised Nauta that the interview was voluntary and that he could leave at any time. The FBI also advised Nauta that it was a criminal offense to lie to the FBI. And they say Nauta knowingly and willfully made false statements to the FBI. Question to Nauta, are you aware of any boxes being brought to his home, his suite? Nauta said no. Obviously, that's a lie because Nauta did move boxes to his residence. All right. So to the best of your knowledge, you're saying that those boxes that you brought onto the truck, first time you ever laid eyes on them was just the day of when employee 2 needed you to correct. So, yeah, Nauta's lying through his teeth. I don't understand why Nauta was willing to throw his life down the drain for Donald Trump, but guess we'll find out. So that's most of the indictment. So I can click out of that. Yeah, I don't know. It really defies logic. It really defies logic. But, to me, I don't really know what the defense would be for Donald Trump, other than insanity or not fit to stand trial, because, sometimes a defendant is ruled not fit to stand trial due to some cognitive or mental issue. They have photos, they have audio, clearly ample witnesses, including Trump's lawyers. They might have Secret Service, although I might have skipped over that in the indictment. So it's pretty black and white. It's pretty black and white. Yeah. Colin, can we do the call program to take a few calls?
We can. It has to be on your end. Remember that you gotta start.
All right. Tell me the program again. So I want to take your calls on this. We could talk about other things too, but mostly this. Call in studio. If you could put up the number. Host show. Save and start. Web host. Ready. Connect to show. You see that, Colin?
Oh, yeah.
Keep those super chats coming, please. Don't forget, we're trying to grow so we could cover a lot more important stories than Donald Trump, particularly on the ground. So sign up as a member if you are not a Status Coup member yet. We are planning on sending Tina back to Atlanta to cover the Cop City protests at the end of this month. We have some other plans for other stories. So sign up, statuscoup.com/join. And call that number, 719-782-8871. Make sure you're on a decent line and you turn off the show in the background so there's not an echo. But yeah, would love to talk to folks. So let's see. Do we have a caller yet? I don't see one. I can't talk to myself for as long as possible. But until we get a caller, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. And some people say I'm crazy, but I firmly believe this. I think once Donald Trump gets past his delusion, narcissism, arrogance, delusions that he could just delay this thing so that he'll just win the presidency and pardon himself. At this point, I don't really see a path that Trump could win the presidency because I don't think he could win a general election if he's under indictment in 3 to 4 different cases, not to mention other things. But I think Donald Trump, once he accepts that he will be convicted of this, because I don't see it. I don't see a defense for this. I don't know what legal defense you could come out with. Tina's sick. Tina's not going to be on today. She's not feeling well. I think Donald Trump's going to do a plea deal because I think as much as Trump desperately needs attention and his cult following to give him meaning, if there's one thing more important to Donald Trump, it's staying out of prison, which is his greatest fear in life. And he will do some type of plea deal. He might still have to serve a short prison sentence. And then after the actual prison sentence, house arrest, obviously drop out of the race for president. But I don't see Trump willing to take the gamble to go to trial for this. I really don't. Because as far as I can tell, there is no legal defense. I mean, somebody could come up with some cockamamie legal defense, but I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty, this is not circumstantial evidence. This is hard evidence. All right. I think we have a caller. Charles.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, yeah, I just had a quick question. I know you kind of mentioned it briefly the other day, but what happened to Zaina? I liked her. You used to have her on regularly.
Zaina got a full-time job. It's funny, actually.
Okay.
I asked her on Sunday, because we're still on good terms, like there's nothing bad. She just got a job. I asked her Sunday, do you want to come on Monday with me on the live stream? She said yes. And then on Monday, Cornel West announced he was running for president, obviously under MPP. Obviously, she's made accusations against Nick Brana. So I said to her, I didn't know when I asked you on Sunday that Cornel West was going to announce he's running as part of MPP. So, if if you'd rather not talk about this, that's fine, because clearly she is biased. So anyway, we decided to have her on another time, not Monday. But yeah, no, we still talk, and she'll be coming on.
Yeah, I saw her the other day on Generational Change. So I know she's still doing.
Yeah, I
podcasts.
just kind of
But
felt
anyway,
like I didn't want to have her on, and I think she agreed. We didn't want to have her on like the day Cornel West announced, because obviously she's made some really serious accusations against Nick Brana and MPP, and we didn't want to. You know, I said to her like we could still do it, but I understand if you don't want to talk about it. And
yeah, when
at least on
when you
Monday, she
interviewed
didn't
Nick-
want to.
Yeah, when you interviewed Nick right after the allegations, he looked guilty as hell to me. That man
Well, I
looked-
could
he
tell
looked
you in
guilty.
my experience, interviewing people that have some skeletons or are guilty of bad things, generally when they're guilty, they try and change the subject, turn things around on you, answer your questions by posing their own questions. It was very clear he was not going to answer any of my questions. That's why I ended the interview as early as I did, because it was just like, what's the point of continually being gaslit by this person if he wasn't going to answer anything? Yeah. And he never, for the written reports that I did, he never responded when I reached out for
Yeah,
comment. So, yeah, I
he
think
was very
there's
defensive.
a lot of evidence well outside of just the allegations of the sexual harassment and assault. There's a lot of other stuff that clearly he's a super shady person. My mama told me if one or two people say something about you, that's one thing. If 20 to 30 are saying something, there's probably truth to it. I mean, you have just hundreds of volunteers with bad things to say about him, about MPP, and they just came up with that cockamamie bullshit that they're all, infiltrators and, damn operatives. So, as I said earlier in the week, I think it's great that Cornel West is running, but I'm not going to lie. I do think it's highly questionable that he's running as an MPP candidate. Some might say, well, Jordan, the candidate is bigger than the party and you should focus on the candidate. I don't know. I don't really agree with that. I think who you attach yourself to matters. I'm a big fan of Cornel West, and I'd be totally fine with him running as a Green Party candidate, an independent. But putting aside the sexual harassment and assault accusations, I mean, there's a lot of red flags about just they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars from small dollar donors and didn't do what they said they were going to do. It's a disorganized mess. They've never run a candidate. Green Party has elected officials. So now you're going to jump from never running a candidate, only being on the ballot, as far as I know, in 2 or 3 states, to and in the interview he did with Democracy Now!, I mean, I like Cornel West, but he's not beyond criticism. He kind of dodged when he was questioned about accusations against MPP. He just didn't answer. So I don't really buy that Cornel West isn't aware that there's accusations against the chairman of the party. Oh, well, I shouldn't say party because they're not really a party, for sexual impropriety. I know that Cornel West is aware of complaints the volunteers have made because they reached out to Cornel West. As far as I can tell, Cornel West hasn't actually filed with the FEC yet for president. So I'm wondering about that. I emailed him today saying, are you going to file officially? And as far as I know, there's some questions that should be asked about where the money went, because MPP did that Rage Against the War Machine rally. As far as I know, there was not a lot of transparency with where all the money, I think they raised over $100,000, where that money was going. So,
well, the MPP party is horrible, but you got to admit they're less corrupt than the Democratic Party.
okay, but is that the standard we're going on? Like, isn't that
No,
kind of
no,
isn't
no,
that kind
no.
of the lesser of two evils approach? Like, and
Yeah,
putting aside all the stuff I just outlined, to me, all that stuff, if you just put it aside, if you are somebody that truly wants a third party movement to grow in this country, then to me, the biggest red flag here, again, aside from all that stuff, is I don't think Cornel West is going to be well served running in it's not even a party, it's an organization with a grifter that runs it who doesn't really have any organizing experience. Generally, their entire communications plan has been to just copy what Jimmy Dore, Jackson Hinkle, and other podcasters do. That's not my opinion. That's literally people who work there said that was their strategy. I don't think it's going to help Cornel West. When you're running in a presidential campaign, particularly as a third-party candidate, you need an organized campaign. You need an infrastructure. You need people that know how to fundraise. People who know how to secure vendors. You need people who know how to set up events. A normal campaign could be doing 2 or 3 events a day. People who could handle logistics. People who could do social media marketing, email list marketing. I mean, you need a real campaign, a real infrastructure. You're going to need lawyers because you're probably going to have to file lawsuits when Democrats or Republican governors try to screw you from getting on the ballot. Like, it's not just like, oh, as long as you have a good candidate, everything else will work itself out. That's not how campaigns work. You could ask anyone that's ever worked on a Senate or congressional campaign, much less a presidential campaign. And from what I could tell, MPP's whole plan as of 2 or 3 months ago was lobbying Jimmy Dore to run for president. I guess Jimmy said no, so then they turned to Cornel West. Do you actually believe you actually believe MPP has the infrastructure to run a competitive third-party campaign? I see no evidence of that. And there's risk with that because you do not want Cornel West to be embarrassed. You don't want Cornel West to run and get, if he's lucky, what Jill Stein got, or maybe a little better, because that's going to set back, in my opinion, the third-party movement. It's not to say the Green Party is perfect, but at the very least, they have won elections. Jill Stein was on the ballot in 48 states. I don't understand why you reinvent the wheel when you already have a party sitting there that has infrastructure and has success getting on the ballot.
No, I agree with everything you said. I'm not saying it's better than the Democratic Party. That's all I was saying. Everything else you said, I agree with. And it's ruining his run he spoiled his whole run by choosing to run with the MPP, because I always wanted Cornel West to run. I might like him better than Bernie. But running in the Democratic Party, that'd be a total waste of time because they're just going to rig it against him. So it's better than the Democratic Party, but I agree. Yeah, he should have ran as a Green. But there might be other information about the Green Party that I don't know about. But yeah, the MPP was obviously a very poor choice, and I don't understand it either.
Yeah, I mean, you could say a lot of things are better than the Democratic Party, but that doesn't mean it's the most optimal way to run for president. And yeah, I mean, I think there's no perfect answer because, like, again, the Green Party has problems. It's not at all to say that's the most organized third party, because I covered Jill Stein a little bit in 2016, and that was also disorganized. But at the end of the day, they did get on 48 states ballots. And the most important thing, third party, is going to be getting on the ballot. You can't have a prayer to compete if you're not on the ballot. And I don't know. The way I look at it, unless I am proven wrong, running as an MPP is going to basically make him a glorified write-in candidate for people to write in his name. And when you have somebody with Cornel West's charisma, vision, I think he is, I like Marianne Williamson, but I personally like Cornel West better, particularly his foreign policy. I think he's more inspirational. I think he's willing to call out the corrupt system more than she is. I think he's willing to go after Biden more than she is, and definitely more than Bernie did. But why run if you basically have a bunch of, in my view, narcissistic organizers? I'm putting in air quotes that there's a lot of complaints against these people when you could run with experienced people. I agree with you. I think it's better that he's running third party than in the Democratic Party, but hey, there's still time for him to change his mind. Say, whatever, thanks to MPP for getting me started, but I'm going to switch to the Green Party or run as an independent. So we'll see. But thank you for calling.
Sure.
Let's see here. I see Susie.
Hey, Jordan, it's Choosy.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Maverick Multimedia does that to me every time he calls me Susie. get back to some solid underlying historically proven principles to diffuse some of the bombs and pull the rug out from under the fascism itself. I mean, first of all, it's historically proven that political solution for fascism is impossible. So that kind of takes the wind out of their balloons. There's a number of reasons why that's true. Maybe we should kind of chat about a few of those. You want to go that road or what?
Well, I think that it's historically proven what some of the core precipitators to fascism is, and one of them that is just a blinking red lights is economic disparity. So you might be right that there's no historical example of what roots out fascism, but there is historical record of, Germany, for example, was economically destroyed after World War I, and strongman fascists like Hitler and the Nazis rose out of the ashes of that because people were looking for someone to blame. And that's when all the nationalistic and anti-Semitic stuff, which might have been lingering there, underneath, really spilled over. So I do think if we did not have a Gilded Age and an economic Hunger Games that we live under, and people had some basic safety nets in America, similar to Europe, and we did not have the massive, just eye gouging income inequality we have, and people were not working 2 to 3 jobs and, looking under their couch for change to fill up their gas, it would be less of a breeding ground for fascism. Does that mean it could eradicate the rising tides of fascism? Perhaps not. But I think it's very clear. Look at in the last decade how this fascism has grown in America. It's in the timetable after the financial crash, after millions of people's homes were foreclosed on. A lot of the people, there was kind of studies done and reports that a lot of the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th were economically destitute, or, had economic issues. I've seen it personally covering Trump's campaign the last 2 cycles and interviewing a lot of those people. They're not all bigots and racists. A lot of them had been economically screwed. And from that, kind of the nationalistic fervor breeds. So that's my opinion on it. But what are your thoughts?
Well, regarding J6, there was between 100 and 200 Secret Service personnel alone in the mob. So it's a psyop. Anyway, I think that fascism is pre-existing. It's always been here. Our great-grandparents were no strangers to it. The Jesuit order was expelled from 80 nations in 1773 by benevolent, not a Jesuit Pope, Clement XIV, and because of a heinous political monopoly and, despotic depop agenda. Sound familiar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what happened is they poisoned, they still claim they didn't do it, but somebody, got to Pope Clement XIV, and before he could expel the Jesuit order from America, Russia, and China. So it's always been here. And the Knights of Malta organization is 1,000 years old almost. I think in 48 it'll be 1,000 years. So they're actually older Roman organization than the Jesuit order is kind of like the rebranded Dominican order of 500 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me all right? My connection's going a little wonky.
Hold on. What did I do again?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
Hold on. Tech issue.
I'm here.
1 second.
I'm with you. We still boys?
Did I? You still there?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah. I mean, once you start
Okay, we still boys?
the Jesuits and all that, you kind of lose me.
Yeah, well, before the Jesuit order was the Dominican order, and it was the Dominican priests who accompanied the conquistadors and, sanctified the heinous actions and policies and perversity and all that. But after Martin Luther, the Counter-Reformation kicked in, and the root word of Dominican is domination, and that was too upfront. So they sat down and decided to be slick and hide their fascist order behind Jesus' name. That's the Jesuit order. Ignatius Loyola was himself arrested under Inquisition and crawled into audience with the Pope crying and walked out upright with a papal bull, right? And, anyway, I'm trying not to lose focus, but my point was that political solution for fascism is impossible for a number of reasons. And the first one is that it's not elected. It's unelected. It's from behind closed doors, and it's the Knights of Malta at the pinnacle of the national level report directly to cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
So the cardinal is the de facto dictator who weighs in on military and intelligence, which is unconstitutional. And that's why we have a constitutional crisis. And we've always had it. It's not new. All right? It doesn't make it right. And if you find a video, please, of Cardinal Dolan's surprise visit to the Ukraine, it's an ABC News parking lot thumbnail, and a very eager young reporter who is very excited. But Cardinal Dolan is creepy. He looks like he's tripping balls and he's moving like Manson. And what is he doing over there? And then there's another story, Father McKelly and Cardinal Dolan. Put your nose plugs on for that story. It gets really creepy and dark and gross. All right.
Do.
So, yeah. But anyway, Cardinal Dolan actually delivers a tap on the shoulder to Rome's Choice at the Al Smith dinner. And they got 50 ways to fudge the numbers. And I'm not saying that lightly. I wouldn't call you in to say something like that if I didn't know that it's information.
Gotcha.
All right? They love their rituals, and they love mocking us. The IHS placard, you see me say in the chat, diaper the IHS placard. That was designed by the founding Jesuits. And it's designed to be an anus masquerading as the sun, and they got a good laugh. They wrote it down how they thought that would be funny to be mocking us through the centuries.
Right.
Half of our language is designed to be pejorative against us, and so it's unelected, it's unconstitutional. We're having a national constitutional crisis and a global constitutional crisis, because after the Second World War, Operation Paperclip and the world central banking system were terms and conditions for Roman permission to nuke Japan. All right. So corrupt inducted Romans in the USA agreed to that. So since the end of WW2, we have this unconstitutional, illegal world central banking system that's privately invested in by the Vatican royal family bloodlines, the papal nobility, the black nobility, the Rosicrucians, the Swiss Templars, and the remnants of the Bavarian Illuminati. You can look all that up and they break down into family names. Those are the uber wealthy people above Rome who use Rome itself and inducted Rome as the gatekeepers, all right, for their interests, which, objectively, they're historically, ritualistically satanic. There's no nice way to put it. All right.
With
they
that,
love their rituals.
With that, I do have to
Yeah.
go because I got to get back to kind of more
All right. Yeah, we
politics.
laid it down. But anyway, I don't like to leave people dangling, Jordan, with the horrible truth without talking about peaceful carnation revolution of Portugal 1974, which proved that we have a constant option that's unacknowledged and waiting in the wings. All right. Our standing military officers belong to us, innocent citizens and civilians and residents. All right. And their standing military legal justice system belongs to us, and it's our last resort fail safe against all of this. All they have to do is unite cohesively with the constitutional keys in higher authority than these inducted immune scoundrels. It's a criminal organization, and it doesn't deserve this hoax religious protection. It's a hoax. They're militant, they're malicious, and they're criminal. How is that religious? It doesn't meet the definition. You see what I'm saying? Worked in Portugal. It's the only historical, constitutional, legal precedent that we need. And if we don't stand up and put our zebra stripes on and call for this together, then we look weak and maybe not worth rescuing.
All right.
We have to use our brain. We have to use our brains and continue the fight is a vacuous Roman slogan. We are not fighters. We are suppressed educators who need to occupy and expose the Knights of Malta online and at their no less than 4 North American headquarters.
All right. That was something. Thank you for calling. Had to kind of end the call because we'd be going on for 7 more hours. Let me read some super chats before we go. If anybody else wants to call, we have the number up. I think if you could put the number back up. I think I read this one. Yeah, I read that one. Chris, $5 said you could argue whether he could have access. I addressed that one. Charlie Kelly, $10 super sticker. Thank you, Charlie. Sophic Manate, $9.99. Sounds like the Orange Man did a capital T treason by divulging U.S. war secrets. Interesting, but I also personally hope this wretched country implodes, so I'll just be here with popcorn. Wouldn't that be nice? If Trump could take down some other corrupt motherfuckers with him, would be delightful. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Caitlin, $5. There is literally a picture of a bathroom with a chandelier and a box of government documents. What a time to live in. That's the thing. That's the thing. And honestly, this post-truth society we live in, if you really have to go back to pinpoint a time or a date that this post-truth society began, I would really throw down to 2010 and 11 when Donald Trump was going around with the birther conspiracy that Obama was not born here, which clearly was a lie. But people started believing it. There was never any evidence for it. I mean, there's always been conspiracy theories, but I'm talking about conspiracism and kind of the post-truth society mainstreaming into an entire political party. You have to really give Trump the accolades for mainstreaming that into 25 to 30% of the country. But there's an entire political party, right? Not an entire, but a large swath of the Republican Party right now that it doesn't matter what's in the indictment. It doesn't matter how many photos of evidence. It doesn't matter how many witnesses gave up Trump. None of it matters. They're just not going to accept facts because it's not about policies per se or conservatism or limited government. It's become, it's become a cult. Not the entire Republican Party, but a large swath of Trumpism is following a cult of personality. And yeah, I mean, legally that doesn't matter. They have the facts to convict him. That's why I think there will be a plea deal. I firmly believe there will be a plea deal because I don't think Trump at a certain point, once the delusion wears off, he's going to have to realize there is no like special legal theory here that will get him out of this. There's really no credible defense of this. There's no like, oh, I was confused. I thought they were my property. So yeah, I don't see any more callers. Last call, literally, if you want to call in. Let's see here. Jordan, what is your take? The case is being held in Florida by a judge appointed by Trump, and he might even get a sympathetic jury. I think, it's not 100% clear that the judge will be that judge that is sympathetic to Trump because there could be calls for her to recuse herself. This is the judge who ruled that there should be a special master to go through the documents, which was absurd in the first place. I think there might be calls for her to recuse herself, and she might have to recuse herself. But even with the judge, Florida, yes, has moved all red, but that doesn't mean every potential juror is like a MAGA stan. And I think the facts are just overwhelming. I think I think you would literally need either Trump's family to serve on the jury or diehard like MAGA January 6ers or QAnon people or Roger Stone to serve on the jury, like the most diehard of diehard Trump fanatics, which obviously during jury selection, the prosecution will be vetting who the jurors are and their political affiliations. I don't see, with the overwhelming volume of facts and not a credible defense, I don't see one juror finding him not guilty, unless they just don't follow the law, which I guess is possible. Das Bos Fleiss, 599 euros. NGL, I want Trump to be able to give DeSantis a hard time in the debates. On the other hand, it will be fine if there will be some actual justice. I think DeSantis, in addition to the abortion stuff where he's been moving more extreme, I think the fact that DeSantis is defending Trump or was defending Trump yesterday, maybe he's going to change his tune with the indictment out. I think that's going to hurt DeSantis if he wins the nomination in a general election, because I don't think independents are going to look kindly on people defending Trump for what sure seems like treason. So I don't think it's going to help DeSantis much what he's doing. Think that's all the super chats we got. Are there any other callers? Nope, no more callers. All right. I was hoping we would have more callers, but not today. All right. That's all we got for today's live stream. We will have other videos and reports coming out this weekend, so stay here on the channel. We have an interview Lewis did with a Pennsylvania lawmaker, his continued coverage of the East Palestine disaster and cover-up. Actually, Lewis published a piece earlier today, which we'll tweet out probably tomorrow, about clear evidence that the CDC has lied, and the CDC is lying about its guidance to East Palestine doctors not to test residents for toxic vinyl chloride. So go check out that piece on our Substack. That's statuscoup.substack.com. Really good, thorough piece that we published earlier today by Lewis. We will tweet it out probably tomorrow because it'll get buried today with the indictment news. We're also going to have, I think, other videos from some other folks. So definitely come back to the channel this weekend. And please, a reminder, if you're not yet a Status Coup member, please consider signing up today, statuscoup.com/join. We're trying to put together at least a couple reporting trips for this summer, including Tina going back to Cop City, Lewis going back to East Palestine. I'm working on something that I don't want to get into right now, but will involve me going back on the road. But we need to sign up more members. In May, we signed up a good amount of members, like 125. In June so far, we haven't signed up as many or are not on pace to match our May performance. So if you could sign up, it's $5 a month. We have $10 a month levels too. $5 a month equals 16 cents a day. $10 a month, 33 cents a day. Please support us, statuscoup.com/join. And by the way, if more news breaks this weekend over this indictment, I'll come live with the breaking news too. I think that's it. Oh, reminder, go to our merchandise store now that the summer is here. You're definitely going to want your Status Coup hat if you're sensitive to the sun when you go to the beach or the lake or the pool. You're going to want your Status Coup t-shirts, maybe your Status Coup towel, iPhone cover, United Corporations of America t-shirts, Fossil Fucker t-shirts. We got a lot of great merchandise. That's at statuscoup.com/store. Which you go to the homepage, you click on store, and that'll bring you to everything. We'd love to see the Status Coup tote bag. You got hoodies, hats. I mean, you got everything. Colin's putting together our poisoning line that's going to have t-shirts for communities that have been poisoned, whether it's the water, the air, the soil. We're doing it all. And that's another great way for you to show your Status Coup swag and pride as a member of the community. It's also another great way for us to get additional revenue dollars, not from corporations, but from our viewers. So go to statuscoup.com/store. We would love to see some purchases in the store. Not enough people wearing Status Coup hats or t-shirts all over the country. Colin, are you working on the poisoning line?
Yeah, I will, after this, I can actually show you my super cool sketches. I don't know if many people have seen my cool sketches I make before I actually make graphics, but I'll show those to Jordan for approval before I spend quite a few hours on it.
And by the way, if we get more member signups, maybe we'll just show it to the viewers first before we accept.
Maybe I'll show the members my cool sketches.
There you go.
That's what
there
we'll
you
do.
go. All right, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, there's no more crimes committed by dinner time. Have a good night.